Hi everyone and welcome to our YouTube channel. As usual, I'm sitting here with Alicia, our fabulous head of marketing. I'm Jodi, the CEO of Prolong.
Hello Jodi, how are you today?
I'm wonderful, thank you. Wonderful, fighting off a little bit of a cold, but apart from that, pretty good.
Well, I'm glad you've made it onto the YouTube channel today to chat about the pros and cons of running a salon with a team. So a couple of weeks ago we talked about running a salon solo, the pros and cons of that. So let's flip that around and talk about the pros and cons of running with a team today.
How exciting. The first thing I think we'll get straight into is obviously having more team members on the floor, having more team members in a salon. You can have more customers. You can have more clients. That's how it works. So
increased productivity, increased efficiency. It makes it so much easier to get stuff done. More hands, more things done.
More hands on deck. But there's also a con to that as well. More expenses, more wages, more training.
More people to manage.
For
anyone who's been in a management role before, sometimes managing people can be a blessing and sometimes it can definitely be a curse. So that's a definite con. If you don't have people management skills or you're not a people person, that would be a con.
Yeah, exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's nothing wrong with running your salon on your own. As we talked about all the benefits of running a salon on your own. For me personally, I like having people around. We said that recently, and I'm a person that likes to have people around, and I'm a person that likes a buzz of a salon and a buzz of an atmosphere, but you're quite, as much as you like that, you quite like being on your own.
I like to fly solo. Except with you.
Oh, of course.
With you. When we talk about the increased efficiency, obviously if you have more people, you can bring that many more clients in. You have that increased amount of time in your salon that you can give to clients. Also, you increase your skill level. So
this is true. So true. Everyone has a different way of doing things. And also, like you and I, when we work together, I'm not very good with detail, just in case anyone knows that. I can put together something and Alicia comes in and dots my I's and crosses my T's. So
but I'm slower. Well, you've got your pro is you do it really fast.
And then your pro is that you fix it. So you bring different skills to it's not just the actual lash artistry that you bring with extra workers. You can bring, someone might be really good at digital marketing, someone might be really good on socials, someone might be fabulous at dropping handstands and doing fun TikToks. You bring different skill sets.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is a massive pro of having multiple people, because you can't do it all. You can't be the best at everything. So if you do also do multiple services in your salon, not just eyelash extensions, you might bring in yourself a brow expert and just really increase your reach, increase what you can offer to your clients, and increase the amount of clients that you're bringing into your salon because you have an extra skill that you didn't have before.
Yeah, and even the lash work itself. Alicia loves her classic lashes.
I do.
So, but some people love putting Russian volume on. Some people are really good with all the technology. You've tried that new, what was it called again?
The UV setting technology. I love it.
So, I mean, some people mightn't have even tried that yet. So if your salon's offering all those different things, your client might have a preference to what they want. So it's not just, and also your little drop-down box that always reads who gets what job. You know, who do you want to go with? Do you want to go with Alicia? Do you want to go with people? Get the choice of a variety too.
Yeah,
and like you've said before, the personalities don't always click.
Yes, that's true. So, if you have someone that you don't always click with, and you're not going to click with every person, every customer that walks in the door, you have someone that you don't really click with, having other staff members in your salon is an opportunity to pivot them over to another person who they might click with better without losing that revenue. Whereas if you work by yourself in a salon, if you don't click with someone, they just are going to leave because
you're passing them off to right down the road to someone else.
Exactly. And then that revenue's gone from your business as well. And it's not necessarily that you don't like each other. Maybe they just have someone that they want to click with more, and you don't want to miss out on that money just because you guys aren't besties right off the bat.
Exactly.
And as we said just before, being able to share the task and, more hands, more stuff done, I think that having a shared responsibility really takes a lot off your plate. Apart from the literal physical work being taken off your plate, there's also a mental load being taken away from you when you can delegate tasks up to other people. So if you can get someone else to tally up all the cash at the end of the day for you when you're tired, exhausted, and you've been doing it yourself for so long, and you can take turns doing that. If you've got a really muddled brain that day, you're just feeling exhausted, you don't want to be running numbers, and maybe someone who's feeling a bit fresher might be able to do that for you. You're going to have less mistakes. Just passing on some of that load to other people has a lot of benefit.
Yeah, it does. And even during the day, like if someone's not so busy, then someone cleans, or someone goes out and gets some food, or someone just gets a chance to have a 20-minute break. Like when you've got more staff on, you can look after your mental health, and you can, as you said, spread the load. But coming to the end of the day, there's nothing worse when everyone's been so busy. I mean, it's great for your business, but you get to the end of the day and no one's had a chance to do anything else. Mm-hmm. And then you're all there counting the money, cleaning. So it's really good that if you're all tired, at least you're doing it together.
Yes.
There's a group of you, you turn on some music and you try and create a little bit of a last 20-minute splurge in your energy that you don't really have on your own. You probably would just walk out and leave it.
Absolutely. I have to say, in the salon that we worked at, when I worked in a large salon that had 15 beds, obviously there was clients just pumping through all day, and we did have our full-time reception staff because none of us had time to do any of those admin tasks. That was really valuable for us. And when you said going out and getting some lunch, I mean, that felt so valuable for us as lash artists. You're on your 5th client for the day, you're absolutely starving, you've got 20 minutes in between clients, and if you could just lean over to the reception staff and say, can you just grab me a sandwich or a sushi roll from down the road or whatever, and they were back with your lunch ready for you when you were finished with your client, that felt like the most luxurious thing in your workday.
And because you start to make mistakes if you're hungry too. And plus your stomach starts to rumble. And as a person that gets lashes done and lays on beds or has massages, you really do hear that from a technician.
You do.
You hear, and they're only human and they apologise, but you shouldn't be hungry. Go and eat. That's a really good point, having staff that can assist you in those sort of things.
Yeah.
That's great. And having people around too, you can talk about things like you and I have been recently doing lots of conferences and going to see what's going on in the world of AI. And you've been interested in, obviously, the digital marketing side, and mine's been a little bit more operations and sales. But we've thrown the ideas between each other and to the other staff. And then the other staff have come back and said, well, why don't we try this? Having those collaborative ideas and swapping your training and your knowledge and advancements, that's a really good thing, having people around too to talk to.
That's a really good point. As a solo artist, sometimes you really miss learning new things because you're too busy to do it all yourself. You can't be doing a full book of clients and going to every single thing that comes up. And so if you have staff in your salon, perhaps one day you go to a conference or something that's going on. Maybe someone else goes to a digital workshop for the day and they're not doing clients for the day. And everyone can come back and share all that knowledge with the team without you having to close your salon for an entire day and take your whole team to one thing. Or if you're a solo artist, just close your salon for a whole day so you can go to the thing and learn all of these things on your own. It's really helpful for people to be able to be learning this stuff. And I think you just inadvertently learn things as a lash artist just on Insta at night. You're laying in bed, you're doing some doom scrolling, you're not quite ready to go to sleep yet, and you go, oh wow, what's this cool thing or whatever, and you're checking it out, and sometimes you go down a wormhole and you learn a whole bunch of stuff, and then you can go back and share that with your team. And that's a great way to learn without everybody having to do it themselves. And as a solo artist, I do think you miss out on that just from the sheer lack of time. It's not possible for you to do it by yourself, to learn all those things by yourself and keep your client books full.
We did touch on it before, but it's really nice to have you here.
Thank you.
It's really nice to have a team at Prolong Lash. It's lovely to have people around so that if you're having a bad day, or you've had a bad night with the kids, or you're feeling a little bit fluey, someone can pick up some pieces.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really helpful to have that team behind you, to know that you can drop everything if you need to, and that someone else is going to pick it up. Whereas when you are a solo artist, that's just not possible. And I think that solo artists really feel that pressure. I mean, as an example, when I had my daughter, my first baby, I went back to work when she was 4 weeks old. So because I was a solo artist, there was no one else there to pick up the pieces for me. So I just had to do it because that's just about as possibly long as I could stretch my clients out between their refills. So I think there is just such a massive benefit in having other people there, because obviously that's an extreme circumstance. Having a baby, that's not going to happen, at the drop of the hat for
Hopefully
people.
not. Please be organised with
Though,
that.
have you ever seen that show, I Didn't Know I Was Pregnant?
No.
Okay. So, there is a TV show called I Didn't Know I Was Pregnant, and it's literally telling true stories about people who didn't know they were pregnant, and they tell the story of like the day that they went into labor and what happened and the circumstance behind it. That show freaked me out so much, because these people show photographs of themselves. They have family members attesting to this information. They don't look pregnant. It's crazy. And some of these people have even had children before, so they should have known, but they didn't know because of all these.
I would not have known I was not pregnant.
Oh my gosh,
I would not have known I was not pregnant. I certainly knew
Everyone
I was
asked
pregnant.
if I was having twins when I was pregnant, all the time. So I couldn't have not
You
known.
couldn't hide it. But anyway,
But it's
work-life
possible that maybe one day you just wake up and have a baby, and it would be great to have a team behind you to help you.
Exactly, that's what we're getting to here. We're getting to the work-life balance, someone to help you when you accidentally fall pregnant and you didn't know it. Stress, burnout, it's such an imperative thing to be talking about. And if you're on your own, it's quite hard to balance that. But if you've got someone around you and you're just having a bad day, it's really good to be able to say, hey, I need some time out today. I need to go and have a sleep for a few hours, not feeling really crash out, and then wake up and you're all refreshed, and that's all it's been. That's all you've needed.
And even if it's not that sort of I've pushed myself to the limit and I need a break, or I've become sick and I need a break, it's even just scheduling that into your work life. When you can rely on other people in your business, you can say, every Wednesday I finish at 4 p.m. or whatever it is, because I know that I have my team there. They'll do the shift until 8 o'clock or whenever you close your salon, and you can actually create yourself this ideal work-life balance where you don't get to that burnout because you've actually made time for yourself, reasonable amounts of time to do your work in, and time to be at home, recuperate, spend time with your family, loved ones, whatever.
So organise yourself, have structure.
Yeah, and
give yourself get some food into you, and make sure you've got some time to yourself. But we touched on it before. Having more staff requires really strong management skills, not just how to manage your staff. Staff conflicts going to arise. There's so many things, and if you don't have the strength to be that leader, then often it's not a good move for you, because talking about the stress load, you're so much more stressed when you are managing staff. And there's so many things that can go wrong. Like, you're trying to build a culture, you're trying to look after your clients, you're trying to make sure that your policies are intact, and then you're trying to micromanage staff who may, be a little bit difficult.
Yeah, having staff can definitely be a con or have cons to it. And I think that you need to accept, if you're going to take on staff, it doesn't just mean that you're going to get all these extra people to do work for you and you can keep on doing the work that you were doing already and everything will just flow. You also need to take into account that you should be scheduling time to become a manager for them. Team meetings, communication is super important with your staff. If it's one-on-one catch-ups, even if it's 5 minutes once a week, and having a coffee and say, each person has a day where they come in 10 minutes before their shift and you have a catch up with them and see how they're going. Do they have any concerns they need raised? What's happening? Just touch base. I think it's really important to make sure that you schedule your management time into your role if you're going to become a manager. I found that at the salon that I worked at and I managed, and it was so tempting just to fill my time with clients because I was fairly booked.
Lashes.
I do love lashes. And I had a lot of clients that wanted me specifically, and we had to turn them away or turn them to other people, which my clients didn't love. But I had to make sure I prioritized the time to do the managing, do the rostering, do the communicating, and even have conflict management with staff. So
yeah, because
those people will clash within your salon as well, not just clients.
That's right. And those casual talks, be smart with those casual talks that you're having. Document stuff. put it in writing. Write yourself some notes after each time. You don't have to get the staff member to sign anything when they're informal, but write yourself some notes. They're a really good backup if something down the track goes wrong with that staff member, and you've sort of been talking about that for a few months. You've kind of got yourself covered on paper that, say, a staff member's turning up late. Let's use that for example. So if someone's turning up late, you have a talk to them casually and you say, it's not good enough, or however you want to say it. The second time, you might document something. Like those talks and that management is super important. You just can't say to that person, you're fired. But if you've got a track record of a few documents, like, you've got to be smart as a manager. It's not just, hey, welcome to the team, and then, hey, sorry, you don't fit. There's policies, there's laws, there's regulations, there's HR to take into account. So management is a difficult thing, and it's not just managing your staff to be great lash artists. It's managing them to fit into your culture legally, as well as comfortably and smiling.
Yeah.
There's a lot to it.
I was going to say, and this is mildly unhelpful because I can't remember the name of it, but there is actually a really useful AI tool that you can use to record your meetings, and it's like a note taker kind of app. I don't know, producer Carol, you got any intel on that for me? She'll get back to us. But yeah, that's the type of thing that you can implement into your management as well, where if you can't do it all, you can use some of these amazing AI tools that are coming out at the moment. Carol's giving me a nod.
There you go.
Otter. So that is like a note-taking, minute-taking app. So if you are having hard conversations with people, and sometimes in those conversations they can get emotional, maybe you don't want to be sitting there writing down, not looking at them, looking at a pad of paper. Maybe you need to be having that conversation with them. You can have that tool there, Otter, to record, and then it will give you a rundown of your whole meeting, what happened, what was discussed, what are you actionable.
Please tell the staff member you're recording them up.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
You must tell the staff. You can't do it secretly.
Disclose that it is for note-taking purposes, and that they can get a copy of it as well.
Yeah.
Just for you both to be on record of what was discussed if there's something serious going down. But
communication's a key, isn't it?
It is.
It's communicating, just talking. How are you feeling today? And we all know the sayings, it's okay not to be okay. So you're going to have staff that are going to come in and they're going to be upset or emotional or tired, or that time of the month, all those things that can happen. And it's true. We know as a female how it affects us. Mm-hmm. Like, I know how it affects me. Going through menopause recently myself, it's been the hardest thing I've had to do. I had to take some time off at the start of this year just to recalibrate and charge the batteries. So
I think we really underestimate things that hormones do to our bodies as well. And even though there are a lot more men in our industry nowadays, and I said our industry as if it's, sorry dudes, no, everyone's welcome, but it is a female dominated industry, and hormones do actually take a big role in our lives, and I think that people sort of underestimate them or brush them off as, oh, get over it, take a Panadol. Yeah, and it's just not the case. So when people are suffering from hormone related issues as well, like, take that seriously and take that on board, because it is a real issue.
Yeah. Okay, we've talked about having the team in the salon, but how do they get there? So recruitment, one of the hardest thing when you're deciding to expand. You expand your workplace, expand your workforce. We find in here, to find the right fit for Prolong Lash, there's so many things that we take into account. We take into account, obviously, skills, the skill set for the job, but we take in, will they fit into our silly, crazy, wacky environment sometimes? We're professional here, but we also have a lot of fun. Yep. And that person that we're hiring has to have that personality and take a bit of a joke every now and then, and be prepared to spur of the moment, get downstairs and dispatch and get an order out because it's massive. Yeah. So you have to choose someone that's flexible for your work environment. You just can't choose someone that's a great lash artist. That lash artist has to have something that suits your culture, something that suits your personality, something that suits your salon atmosphere. Mm-hmm.
Something that people really underestimate in the recruiting process is that it's actually really time consuming, and it can be very expensive as well. The process itself of posting ads on traditionally people would do it on a platform like Seek, or maybe you do LinkedIn or something like that, but it is expensive to post an ad on Seek. I'm talking hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And then you get so many resumes that many people are underqualified. I think there's a culture nowadays that people just put their resume in for anything, and it doesn't matter if they're qualified or not, and it's your job then to filter through all these resumes. So it is a really time-consuming process, and it can be a very expensive process. So I can tell you about something that we did at our salon to find the right staff.
Tell us about your story.
So at Lash Design Studios, which was the salon that we ran with our 15-bed salon, we started ourselves a little recruitment drive. So we needed more staff. When we went from a 3-bed salon to a 15-bed salon, and we wanted to recruit more staff in an efficient way, what we did was we hosted a little Learn How to Do Lashes evening. So we advertised it around on the local lash groups on Facebook. That was early days of lash groups on Facebook back then. And I don't know where else we might have advertised it, in like the local paper or something, because it's like so long ago I'm talking about. And we said, come and learn how to do lashes for free, essentially. And we got like 20 or 30 people turn up, and we said, what we're going to do tonight is we're going to teach you just the basics of how to apply a lash. It's going to be so basic. It's not a lash course. It's just a few of the basic things. So we taught them how to put eye pads on, which is more complicated than people think, and how to apply a lash or a few lashes. And they laid down and did them on each other, applied lashes, and we went around, and some people might not think this is the case, but this worked for us. You can tell if someone's going to be able to be a lash artist or not within a couple of lashes.
Not me.
You can tell if they've got the steady hand. You can tell if they've got the eyesight, if they've got the potential. It was quite clear quite quickly. So we would go around, and we had an assessment criteria, and we would assess them. And then what we did then was say, anyone who got sort of this grade or above, you're invited back to be part of our program, where it's a 3-month long program, and you can come in and practice on models anytime you want during our opening hours, and our lash artists will assess you every time, give you feedback, help you. We also ran a training program at that point, so they went through the training program for free, and then they came and did this 3-month program, and we essentially guaranteed them a job at the end of it. And we started off with about 15 that were quite good, and then they sort of drop off over the couple of months. Maybe it's not for them, they're not really interested or whatever, but we had a few that really stuck to it, and they ended up being great lash artists and then working in our salon. And they had already been coming in, you know, so often into our salon, using our salon space. They were so comfortable. So the day that they started working for us, it felt like they'd already been working for us for a long time. They were already part of our team in a way, and they already had great rapport with our other lash artists who had been helping them, training them, and they learned exactly the lash design way of doing lashes, everything that we did in our salon, and it just meant such a smooth transition into our workplace. So that was how we battled it.
That was really smart when you need that many staff. But there's something else I noticed when I was in Canada recently. Well, it was actually last year, but recently. There was a few salons in Toronto that are close to each other that were 1 people, maybe 2 people salons, and they had like a pool of staff. They had maybe 4 or 5 staff that they could call on that were all trained lash technicians that didn't want full-time work. And they had like 3 or 4 girls that were floating between the salons. Now, it doesn't work for everyone. I know that certain salons are much more fussier about how their policies work, how they want their lashes to work. But in that sort of small town where there's not enough work for the lash artists, that sort of thing may work too. I mean, it's not something you could do everywhere, but they had a really good system. It worked really, really well.
There is a business in that. And we actually ended up doing a similar thing with the staff that we were still sort of in the ends of the training process with, and they were really good at what they do, but this happened by accident at our salon. Another salon just called us in pure desperation and said, my lash artist just quit, I've got full books, I don't know what to do. Do you have anyone that can come and help? And we were like, well, yes, we do. They haven't, finished their certification, but they're very good. We are going to hire them. Yeah, you can have them for a day if they're happy to. Yeah. And we did that, and that was something that we sort of trialed, like almost like a agency kind of lash artist thing. It was very complicated, and it really needed someone to run it full time, so we never got fully into that, but there is a business idea in that.
Yeah, there is. It worked really well for these girls. I think there was 4 salons, and they had two people in most of the 4 salons, and then they had 3 girls that were floating between the 4 salons. And a lot of them had kids, so they would work at flexible times. So something you can look into anyway. There you go. There's a business idea for someone.
Smart. Yeah, someone run with that. And if you do want to think about this further, we also have a video about a step-by-step, what is it called?
Guidance.
Guide.
Step-by-step guide.
I'm going well today for hiring a team. So you can find that on our YouTube channel as well.
So that'll help you out. But I suppose the last thing I really wanted to discuss today with you, Alicia, is the being over-dependent on one individual staff member. So if you do get your team organised and you have someone that's just really good at something and you just sort of go, oh, that person, I'll just leave that person in control of that area, that's yours to do, and then something happens to that person, who can step into that shoe? So who can step into their shoes? We at Prolong here, how we run it is that everyone has their area, but we all get involved in the area so that if someone is sick, there'd be someone that could step up. Yeah. Not do as good a job, we know that, but certainly fill the shoes for a week.
Yeah, I think when we're starting out, we're so busy that everyone just really focused on their own thing and no one else was really across anything. And then when something goes wrong, it goes really wrong because no one else knows what's happening in that area. And that can happen in a lash salon as well. So if someone's your one and only brow expert, they're the only one that can do that, and then they break their wrist, and you have 2 months worth of microblading booked in, and your salon's known for that, you're stuffed basically. So you can't just rely on one person, and that is also a con of working by yourself. That's the same thing. If you're just relying on you are in a world of pain if something happens to you, and it's the same if you put so much on one person in your salon. So if you have that brow expert, which is great, you should still have your other staff learning from them. You should maybe book in once a week, half an hour training sessions with that expert in whatever, and make sure that everyone is multi-skilling where they can to protect yourself and your business.
Yeah, it'll just help you out, and it'll take that stress off you if the situation comes up. Like, you're being proactive rather than reactive. That's what you've really got to be. So, I think that's it for today.
I think so. Thank you for joining us. Yeah. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up, and you can always jump onto our socials. We've got our Instagram, Facebook, TikTok page. Join us on the new Aussie Lash Wives.
Aussie Lash Wives, that's us.
Forgotten what our podcast was called. The Aussie Lash Wives podcast. You can get that anywhere that you get your podcasts. And of course, if you want to buy Prolong or talk to us, you can jump onto www.prolonglash.com and .au for Australia.
You just have that wide now, don't you? You just do you say that in your sleep?
It's an automatic speech. I don't even know what I say.
All right, till next time. See you soon.
Bye.